Hey guys, we just did a video on how you can submit to your husband when he doesn't lead, but even more nuanced than that, how do you submit when you disagree with your husband's decisions? We'll give you 3 questions that you can think through in situations like these.
Welcome back to The Biblical Couple, where we help you walk with God in your marriage. The first question that you should ask yourself if you're disagreeing with your husband's decision is, would following your husband's decision lead you into sin? If that's the case, you should definitely disagree with his decision and you should not follow his decision. Ephesians 5:22 says, "Wives, be subject to your own husbands as to the Lord." When you're being submissive to your husband, you're doing it because you want to render that submission and that worship to Christ. And Christ is the ultimate authority. So if your husband is leading you into sin, that short circuits his authority and his role that the Lord's put him in to guide you in righteousness, to protect you and to care for you. And so if he's leading you into sin, then you can disagree with his decision with gentleness and respect, and you can explain your reasoning why and why ultimately you want to honor the Lord.
So for example, maybe you have an unbelieving husband and he says, you can go to church and that's fine by me, but I don't want you to have any other time with the body outside of Sunday, no serving. And that goes strictly against 1 Peter 4:10-11, which talks about how God has given us gifts to employ to serve the body so that God would be glorified.
But if you're unsure if something is sinful or not, definitely take the time to search the scriptures and understand how God views that particular issue. So for example, if your husband is asking you to participate in some certain sexual act with him, and if you're unsure if this certain sexual act is okay by the Lord, if it's pleasing to the Lord, then never ever go against your conscience. And we get that from Romans 14:23. It says, "But he who doubts is condemned if he eats, because his eating is not from faith, and whatever is not from faith is sin." So in the context, this is talking about eating meat that is offered up to idols. But the principle is the same, in that if you're unsure about whether doing a certain act is okay by the Lord, don't go against your conscience. Just research, think about it, and pray about it, and talk to other godly women around, or talk to other godly couples to dive into that. But you can express that you desire to follow your husband and you desire to bless him while you absolutely want to honor and follow the Lord. That's going to be the key to showing him that you submit to him and that you really love him.
Question number 2 is there a wiser approach to his decision? And so maybe your husband is thinking, I'd like to go in this route for this decision, but you're thinking, I don't know if that's the wisest way to do it. And so you're thinking to yourself, how can I build him up? And how can I think about certain biblical principles that would help support him and help him in his decision making so that you guys can come to the best decision? At the end of the day, you would just still trust his lead. And we see that in Proverbs 14:1, which says, "The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish tears it down with her own hands." So wives, you definitely have that opportunity and responsibility to build up your house and build up your husband that way.
Yeah, and here's an example. So let's say you have a husband and a teenage daughter named Dorothy. Sorry if your teenage daughter is actually named Dorothy out there. Let us know if it is. That'd be a very funny coincidence.
It's a sweet name.
Yeah, it's a nice name. So maybe she's not acting so nicely, and she asks you both to borrow the car, and she agrees that she'll bring herself and the car back by 9 o'clock. And then what ends up happening is she ends up strolling in at a smooth 9:23 p.m. She explains to you, "Mom, Dad, my friend Loretta, she really needed a Slurpee from 7-Eleven and I couldn't leave her hanging. I just absolutely needed to take the car and just come back at this time," right? And then maybe your husband is easily smoothed over by her charisma, and he basically says,
Okay, yeah, just let us know next time.
yeah. And you as a wife think, she needs to remember to respect her word and respect us, and she needs some sort of repercussion to teach her that lesson. Then you can pull aside your husband and explain, hey honey, is it okay if we bring in some sort of repercussion for her actions? Because I want her to be able to learn. I want her to be able to respect her words and respect us. If maybe we take away her car privileges for a week, then she'll really be able to remember that. You guys align, get united, and then your husband goes back out there and explains to little Dorothy the repercussions and the reasoning why, and maybe she'll shed a little bit of a tear, but she's absolutely going to remember, and everyone else is going to be way better for it because of that wisdom and the grounding and principles, and you as a wife got to share that with your husband and build your husband up in that way while submitting to him.
And now we arrive at question number 3, which is there a preference you can forego out of love and kindness to your husband? And this is the kind of attitude that we all as Christians should have and should strive to keep having. And we see that kind of attitude in Christ's character in Philippians 2:3-5, which says, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. Have this attitude in yourselves, which was also in Christ Jesus." And then it goes on to say what Christ did.
Yes, always a great passage for you to study and meditate on. Yeah, like Joanna said, Joanna. Every time I say Joanna, it's, that's not what I actually call her. Yeah. We have like sweet, barfy pet names.
We don't have pet names.
A little bit. But you will never know what they are. Maybe one day.
Maybe. No, we don't have pet names.
Yeah, we do. You're just so
like
ingrained.
Honey?
No, worse.
Oh, okay, I know.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so maybe one day if we hit 100,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, then maybe.
You just made up a new number.
Yeah, I know. That way they'll never be able to hear it, right? Anyways, like Joanna said, this selflessness and a letting go of our own preferences should absolutely characterize every single Christian, and especially Christian marriages, in big ways and small ways. I'll give you an example of a small way that Joanna forgoes her preferences. I really love watching animal documentaries. I love it so much. I love hearing David Attenborough's voice. I wish that he was a creationist, and I wish that he would be able to come to know the Lord. Praying for you, David. Praying for you, Sir David. But I just love it. I love listening to him. I love learning about all the animals, seeing God's creation. It's fantastic. I think Joanna enjoys it, but not nearly as much as me. I'm probably like a 9, and she's probably like a good 6.8 or something.
Okay, well, but for the record, I do really enjoy them. They're just really slow paced. And
depends on the one you watch. The chases.
You usually watch even that is pretty slow paced.
The chases?
David Attenborough's like, watch the cheetah chase after this bird.
The cheetahs are literally the fastest land animal, and that's too slow for you. Oh my goodness.
But it's like just very soothing, and like it kind of puts me to sleep. So
yes.
I'd rather
Anyways,
watch cooking or something.
Exactly. Okay, and cooking is just really fast paced. Okay. So that 6.8 to 9 jump in terms of how much we enjoy that program, that's how much she forgoes. And let's go with her preference to enjoy that with me. And that should characterize everything we do. So wives, go and submit to your husbands even when you disagree with their decisions by going through this matrix. Definitely never sinning. Always seeking to
build him up with your wisdom.
Exactly. And forgoing any preferences out of love and kindness to him. Thank you guys so much for always being so active on the comments and discussion. We did see on one of the comments in our most recent video that you guys are interested in learning more about the husband side of things, husband's leadership, maybe even how a husband can lead an unsubmissive wife. Really, really good questions. Keep those questions coming, and don't worry, we understand that we are here to also build up husbands, so we will definitely be creating more content like that in the future. So stay tuned, hit like on this video, subscribe, click the bell button. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Oh, and we know that you absolutely love seeing our cute tube sons. So here's some clips. Here's some clips of our recent family life for you to enjoy.
Oh.
Did you spit?
Oh.